Hello YouTube, welcome to my channel, and today I just want to give you a peek into some of my book collection. I'm going to start with And There I Stood with My Piccolo by Meredith Willson. Let me get it in focus there. There we go. And Meredith Willson is the composer whom the musical, The Music Man, was based off of. It's based off of his kind of life growing up in Iowa and how he grew up in a small town, moved to New York, became a part of the New York Philharmonic, and played with John Philip Sousa's band, the John Philip Sousa, and played the New York Phil under Toscanini. And it's just full of little anecdotes about his life in the music business, how he went to Hollywood, and this will actually come into play a little bit later. But I have another book that kind of has some synergy with this one, and that's Miracle on 34th Street. Meredith Willson actually did a version of Miracle on 34th Street. As you can see, my book is signed by the author. And like I said, it's just a book I'm trying to get it more in focus. It's just a book that's full of little anecdotes. One of them, and as you can see, mine has kind of this little frontispiece here and a little bit of extra writing there. But this book is actually going for over $2,000 on Amazon right now. And I don't know that one is signed, the one that's going for $2,000. But one of the stories that he tells is actually about the title of this book, And There I Stood with My Piccolo. And it's about how he met this kind of Moravian flutist or flautist. I'm not certain how you say it. But that person had told him the story of how he had once played for a king. And I'm going to give you kind of a look at the condition as I tell you this story. And it'll be the only story of from the book that I tell you, because I think you really should just read it. But the flautist tells him the story that he played for a king, and the king, I guess kings back in those days had counting houses, invited all of the players to go back to his counting house and fill their instruments with gold coins. And the flautist goes, and there I stood with my piccolo. The king, who is so impressed with our music, he wants to just give us money as much as we can just stick in our instruments. And there I stood with my piccolo. So that's just kind of one of the stories. There's a couple of really, really good ones in here. It's very lighthearted. It makes for good kind of nighttime reading, and I highly recommend the story. This book is Miracle on 34th Street. As you can see right here, it's a first edition, 1947, written by Valentine Davies at the time of the movie. Here so that you can see, 1947. And I purchased this from the library of all places, at one of my local libraries. If you're a friend of the library, meaning you pay a fee, of course. Let's see. Then during their book sale, you can come, I think it's a day early, and you can have a bag. Let me put that away. And you can fill the bag with however many books for a set price. And as you can see, these are red boards. Miracle on 34th Street. And this book is about a girl and her mother, and about faith. Not necessarily religious faith, but just faith in the goodness of other people, faith in the holiday season, faith in Santa Claus. And it's about a man whose name is Kris Kringle. And he actually, I'm going to give you a look at the condition of the book. he is living in an old folks home and gets kicked out because he keeps claiming that he's Santa Claus. Even though everyone loves him, he still gets kicked out and has to make his own living. So he eventually becomes a department store Santa Claus at Macy's. And it's just about how he brings faith back in the spirit of the holiday season, and how the season has grown to be so commercialized, and it really needs to get back to its roots. If this was made, this was first a screenplay. It was first a story written by Valentine Davies, and then he and George Seaton, I guess, put together the screenplay. It won a number of Academy Awards, but it did not win Best Picture. It's kind of one of those books that's, well, not books, but movies that's in the American lexicon now. I mean, if you haven't seen Miracle on 34th Street, where have you been for the past 70 years? I don't really want to give away the plot, just in case there is someone who hasn't. I mean, you know, all the Easter eggs, for lack of a better term, just in case there is someone who hasn't actually seen the movie, but you really should see the movie. You really should see the movie. I'm actually going to be reading this book to my children. My son is of an age where he can really appreciate it. My daughter, not so much, but she'll get over it. She's only 6 months old. If I'm reading to her at all, it's a good day. I wanted to also give you some indication of the current value of the books. As you can see, and there I stood with my Piccolo, is currently going for $2,942. It's just that rare. And mine is signed with no dust jacket. Miracle on 34th Street for $65 with no dust jacket. Bye.